Welcome everyone to another action figure review, as I have the Bandai Tamashii SH Figuarts, the One Piece Roronoa Zoro. And this of course is part of the Raid on Onigashima line, so you do have to be quite far into the anime or manga to know this particular look. And it's understandable, a lot of fans did want the original looks of the characters when this line was first announced, but you do have to understand One Piece has been around for many years, so you do want to go with the latest trend. And this was released alongside the Monkey D. Luffy recently, both looking good together. So in the past, Tamashii did have the One Piece line. I believe it's the first SH Figuarts Zoro, but they certainly had the Luffy one. They also released the Figuarts Zero lines as well, and kind of both of them had the original looks of the characters, so it's nice to sometimes switch it up. And of course early next year they do have the scheduled Netflix live action versions as well. So looking at the packaging, I do like the simplicity of it. Same design as the Luffy one kind of, but of course you get the green colors to match the theme of Zoro. The other side we have the white colors with the text in black, a shot of Zoro here, and at the front you do have the usual logo stickers, and on the side of course notice there is a shot of Luffy because there is accessory included, and then we have the photos of Zoro in different poses. At the top it's a nice cutout of the straw hat. I didn't notice that on the first Luffy review, but that's something that's pretty cool. And then we have the map, and at the bottom we have another shot of Zoro. So let's get this figure out of its packaging and take a closer look. So inside there is a instruction manual. I noticed the Luffy one didn't include one for some reason. And here is the Zoro figure inside its packaging. So here is the first look at the Roronoa Zoro figure out of its packaging, and I guess first impressions, it's no surprises once again how good looking this figure is. The quality is there, the accuracy is there to the source material, and I guess Tamashii is so experienced, so consistent over the years in making their anime characters. So once again they produced another quality figure, and kind of like the Monkey D. Luffy one, I really like the way it looks. The colors really pop on this. I know he's wearing black, but just the green colors on the hair, I guess it's not every day you see a character like this, and I think the green colors with the black go really well together. And overall just the way it feels in hand as well, it's actually a pretty solid piece, because sometimes SH Figuarts can feel very light. This one in particular is probably because of the lower half of his clothes. It uses like a rubber material, and it may hinder some of the leg articulation, but in terms of how it feels in hand and how it stands, I think it does a pretty good job. So that's one good thing about having kind of heavy clothing below his waist. And let's bring in the Monkey D. Luffy figure, so you can see both of them together for the Raid on Onigashima, both looking really good for a display. And let's take a look at the face sculpt, which is one of the most important things, and I think they pretty much nailed the look. You can see the way they painted the eyes, and then the earrings, the hairstyle, the texture on the hair especially. And then also notice the clothing's here as well. It's got like a rubber material which is separate from his actual body, which is realistic and allows probably some better movement. And then for the ribbon, I guess there's movement as well, and it's detachable. And everything else, I think it looks pretty good in terms of the first look. Of course it may have some problems with the articulation. You can see there's also like a twisted part for his clothes on the arms. So yeah, I really like the way it looks. No doubt it's going to look even better once I put on the accessories. So now let's test out the articulation, the movement of this figure, starting off with the head sculpt. So it can go round and round, no doubt, very smooth in fact, and it can go side to side. So I noticed these One Piece figures, the head sculpt is actually very movable, upwards, downwards, no problem. So in terms of the head sculpt, really well done. The arms, of course, oops, you can see once you pop them out, it can actually be very loose, so just be careful when you're doing it. So you can go forwards, and let me see, okay, backwards, and then forwards, and then side to side. Just make sure you turn it around first like this. Doesn't go that much far backwards, and inwards neither. It's quite limited here. And then the armband, and then there's a bicep swivel, of course, and then there's also the twist on the hand, and I'm sure there's a hinge as well. And now for the body, which is probably going to be a bit tricky. So he's got this rubber material inside, but I'm not sure if it's going to be allow any movement. So I'm just going to do what I see. So it can go side to side in terms of the waist. I can tilt left and right. Body crunch, you can see it snaps the body very easily. So in terms of the way this articulation is going, not so well. So backwards, not too much. And I think for the legs, there's probably really no point in doing it because you can go forwards this much, not much backwards, not much in terms of the split. I'm sure there is a knee bend. There's also rotation on the foot, and there's also a toe hinge. So now let's take a look at the alternative faceplate. So out of the box, it is the standard core look, and then we also get the smiling version, as well as the open mouth angry version, and also a second open mouth angry version, but with the sweat effect. And here is the accessory included for the Luffy figure, which is the concerned look for the faceplate, and this one also has the sweat effect. And now we can take a look at the hand accessories. So out of the packaging, it does include a set of closed fists. So for the alternative hands, we get the set of grapple hands, as well as a set of hands to hold on to his weapons. So for his weapons, it does include this set of 3 swords which are attached together, and this is for when he's placing it onto the side of his waist. And this is actually pretty detailed. I really like the way it's colored and painted, and I think it might be a bit of a hassle to kind of get it attached just like this. I may need to detach his waist and somehow fit these in, which I'm going to do now. So here is the swords placed onto the side, and of course it does create a very good looking figure. As you can see, it feels very detailed, but it did take a bit of time, so just have some patience. What you do is you do have to detach the body, and then you kind of have to slide open this ribbon waist, and then you just kind of place these swords in. I did take out the 3 handles as well, just to make it a bit easier in case they snapped. So what you do is you do have this really good look. Of course, Zoro needs to be in the poses with the actual swords, and they have of course included them. So all 3 of them in hand. And if you decide to use them, then of course you can remove the handles. And here are 2 of the swords placed into the hands to create that fighting mode look. And of course you can notice now that 2 of the handles have been removed to create that realistic effect. So this figure also includes the alternative head sculpt, which of course is Zoro with the bandana, and it does create a very good look when he's angry with that grinning kind of mouth. And this is a great look when you of course place the 3rd sword in his mouth, and this is going to look amazing if you get it in the right pose. So this is what the SH Figuarts is capable of to create kind of that ultimate look of Zoro. And certainly this is one that's probably a lot of people would choose to display. Of course, no doubt it does kind of hide the green hair. And one last accessory is you get this left arm accessory, which is to be replaced for the original one out of the packaging. So as you can see, this one is tied into a knot. So what you do is you replace it with the original one by taking out the arm, and then you get the look without the knot. So now let's take a look at the size comparisons, starting off with 2 fellow SH Figuarts from 2 classic animes. So the first one being the Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Goku, and the Jujutsu Kaisen Yuji Itadori. And then we can also bring it next to 2 recent figures I picked up from the Jada Toy Street Fighter 2 line, with 2 of the main characters from the first. So we have Ryu, as well as a Chun-Li, and looking very colourful. And then we can also bring it next to 2 classics, of course the Hasbro Marvel Legends, the Captain America Avengers Endgame, as well as the Renew Your Vows 2-pack with the comic Spider-Man. And finally, a random comparison with two other recent figures I picked up, with the McFarlane Toys, the classic TV series from the 60s show, The Batman, as well as a 66 representation of Superman. So now for my final thoughts on the SH Figuarts Roronoa Zoro, the Raid on Onigashima edition. This is no doubt a great looking anime figure that represents the look we're familiar with the different facial expressions to the swords on the side or in hand, and especially the alternative head sculpt to create the ultimate look. However, the overall build is horrible for the articulation as it's super limited. The arms was very loose, especially the left one, as I'm sure it's because you can change up the knot, and the waist was also taken apart very easily, and again probably because you need to place those swords in. And the lower half might as well be statue legs, as the materials really hinder any kind of leg movement. A soft material one would have done the job, but it wouldn't have looked good as the top half is sculpted. I also find the sword placement a bit of a mess, as it's hard to really fix it in, as you do need to take the figure apart, and some of the handles are also very loose and it also gets in the way of each other. Having said that, it is a good looking figure on the right pose, but certainly one that doesn't really offer too many dynamic poses. And I think the Netflix version has potential to be a lot more fun and even the better figure to articulate compared to this one, and I didn't think I would say that. So my score is a 6 out of 10. The presentation is nice, but certainly needs massive improvement, especially as it costs more than the Luffy figure. If you like this review or you just want to see my opinion on the Luffy version as well, click on the link below and stay tuned to more reviews. Thanks for watching.